Hiya, Shenanix. How you doing tonight? I hope you're doing well, and if not, I hope it's about to get a whole lot better because we are about to start up something new. By something new, I mean this game's like released very recently. It's a dungeon delver. It is a one-player dungeon crawl tabletop role-playing game. I have been playing it at least once a day for like the last week. It's been a lot of fun. Hiya, Flash. Hiya, Peck. Hiya, Leon. And hi, all lurkers. So, if you're not familiar with the game, I'll go over some of the rules. Uh, I have them up here in a. They're distributed as a PDF. Now, I, let's see. I wonder. Hi, Amoing Boy. Or would you like me to? Actually, that's a good point. Let me just really quickly ask a quick question. It's supposed to be chatting on my other account. Yes, it is I. The creator of the game. Okay. I did make sure to I had to make sure before I showed off the PDF for the game. Now it is covering my lovely face, but we will survive that. Now, you can see here. It's over. Delve into the darkness of the dungeon in search of treasure. How deep can you venture? How much treasure can you collect? And that's why we're here to get rich. So this is a solo micro game made by Shin Studios. I wish I could claim something. I wish I could claim anything about this game. This game is so much fun. But no, it's just made by one of the Shinatics. So, if you want to follow along, we want to start with a gridded index like this, A through E and 1 through 7. Sorry, 1 through 7, A through E. So, the game setup is to create this grid. Oh, you pull it over. You can read along. The game is played on a 7x5 grid of empty tiles. Empty tiles. Rows are designated A through E and columns are numbered 1 through 7. See the sample map on right there. As we explore the dungeon, we'll fill empty tiles with either the corridors or rooms. Begin at A4 or C1 with a corridor cross section. This is dungeon level 0. You will need to find the stairs down to the first level. And that's pretty much the goal for every level, other than getting more money. But we'll get to that. When you reach the stairs, start a new map with the same type of grid system, but place a stairs room at the same coordinates where you found them on the level above. So the gameplay involves, this is primarily rolled with D12s and D20s. So the game is played in turns, with each turn consisting of the following. Roll a D12 and draw the tile indicated at any open connection. Move your character up to 2 tiles. Resolve an encounter if you enter an unresolved room tile. D20 versus CR. And we're just about to get into that. Resolve an encounter. First roll 1d12 and add to the dungeon level your character is on. I agree. This is some good stuff. I do believe I have a link in the description for if anybody would like to download it themselves and possibly play along. So we check the total on the encounter type table, which is further down. Then determine, we enter the counter type table for a trap encounter. Here we go. For a trap encounter, we roll for the trap type, then determine the challenge rating. Roll a d12 and add the dungeon level our character's on. Since we're starting on this level 0, we add 0. For a combat encounter, we roll a d12 and add the level of the dungeon our character's on, and +4 if it's a hard difficulty, +2 for a medium, and 0 for an easy. And that's how we get our challenge rating. Finally, we roll a d20 and add any bonuses we have, which come from equipment that we pick up. If the challenge was a combat, also gain a treasure. Now, here's an important rule. Let's see. Okay. The important detail that I have picked up, and I had to double check with the creator, the total has to be greater than the CR of the challenge. If it meets, we lose, and we suffer the consequences. So, of course, the challenge rating, we just went over that. Facing a challenge. To attempt a challenge, roll a d20, then add any bonus you have for the type of challenge. Combat, body, mind, or magic. We pass the challenge if our total is greater than the challenge rate. Point that. Note that only one bonus may be used for each challenge. If we pass the challenge, the room is now traversable. Additionally, if the challenge was a combat, we gain a treasure. You can't exactly see all of it there. If we fail the challenge, the room is a dead end, and we cannot work with anything in it. So this is the encounter table we were reading about earlier. So whenever we enter a new room, we roll this d12 and add the challenge and add the dungeon level. So 11 or 12, that's a trap. I've hard challenges, by the way, hard combats are pretty crazy. Now, we'll come back to these as we see them later. I'll show them off a couple of times, but here's the treasure table. So if you remember the trap types and the so we have body, mind, magic, and combat. So combat that's for another thing. Combat is for combat, of course. So we got body, mind, and magic. Each roll on here can give us one of these items if we successfully win a combat. And on the left side, we have our rooms. So without further ado, let's actually give this a shot and see how this goes. This brings back tales of a dungeon in my world where, well, every person would experience it in their own way. So we will be starting on C1 here. Since we will be entering, if I'm not mistaken, that is our first encounter. So let's see. Let's open up our trusty tables and see what we can do. So we rolled a 5. 5 plus 0 is an easy combat. So, the enemy will be at, unless I'm mistaken, with the roll I just did, a power of 8. First things first. So we must meet or beat an 8 with the roll of a d20. Allow me to narrate what we stumbled into. Stepping into the dungeon, stepping into the dungeon. It is quiet, until the snap of a twig alerts us to a large rodent. It seems to have made its dwelling here on this very opening cave, possibly to escape the nightmarish rains that have swept over the lands over the last few days. You're very lightly armed as you entered the dungeon. However, you know that as this beast is as this large beast is a simpler creature, you're able to predict its movement. You've encountered countless beasts like this before. Not quite a rat, not quite a mole. Something horribly in between. As it lunges at you, trying to either intimidate you or kill you outright, you're able to grab a hold of its head and push it down by the scruff. It squeals, and as you release it, it scurries out into the morning sun. We have successfully completed this encounter. Combat. Successfully. Combat success. Let us roll for our treasure. So since this is a easy combat... Oh, that was a d20. I was not supposed to roll that. So we have rolled a 3, but since this was an easy combat, we go with minus 2 for a 1. So we get a mundane treasure. Hi, Eligio. What about the mat? We have rolled a 9, so we will be adding a magnifying crystal to our inventory. The mat, wait, is that the mole? Is that the rat mole thing? Let's just go down here. So +1 to our mind. So if we wander into a... Hi, Peck. No worries, no worries. We just successfully completed a combat with a weird, large rat mole creature that was making its like nest right in the beginning of this dungeon. And in doing so, we were able to find a small... He's going to call it a roll, but it seemed more confusing. Very understandable. Well, with that concluded... we're back to the tunes. And we have found a magnification crystal in the creature's nest. Now, time to delve a little deeper. Find something that hopefully can get us money. So let us start with our first room roll. That is the wrong table. Let us pull this over to the side. We have rolled a 6. So it is one of these three-way openings. So I'm going to put that one right here. I'm going to put a little check mark in the corner of this room to show that we have completed the combat here. So... no, that's terrible. So this is our path thus far. And so we will once more enter the next room and roll for our encounter. Counter type, we will be doing a easy combat. That will be a 6. So we have to beat a 6. using chain sword. We step into the next room. It's dark, however, it's faintly illuminated by the residual sunlight. They sound so good in the art in the whole thing. Thank you! I'm glad they're picked up, by the way. In the gleam of the light, you catch the eyes of something. Something you blink and it's gone. All of a sudden you hear a snap of a twig to your right. A small figure appears out of the darkness. An imp! It seems to... It knows that you've seen it. Let's see what happens. This one... A 15! The creature's fingers light up, and a small blast of magic comes towards your head. You're able to dodge out of the way, barely. And with your body at this angle, you take the opportunity to give it a small kick to the chin. Thinking that you've been bested by its magic, so it did not think to dodge, and your foot connects. You send the creature flying into the wall. It slumps down. Whether or not it's dead or alive, you're unsure. But you do know that something tumbles from its hand. We get an equipment from this. We get an axe. As the axe tumbles from the imp's hand, it begins to grow in size. Perhaps this item was linked to the imp's soul. Perhaps it was linked to its body. Either way, it has seemed to be disconnected, and as such, it is yours for the taking. We will add the axe to our inventory. We'll just make sure I got the number right on the +2 there. +2 to combat. So we're doing quite well so far. We must once more return to our dungeon delving. To do that, we must roll for our next room. Ah. Interesting. Oop. Nice film. I'm going to notate for the openings as here. So we enter into a room. You enter into a room that is seemingly a dead end. However, something in the air feels off still. There's something hateful in this dungeon. Something about it that seems to not want us here. While the light in here is dim, there still seems to be some light trickling in from behind. A small stick snaps, and you turn, thinking it to be another imp, but it's gone. In fact, there doesn't seem to be a trace of anything. No movement, nothing catches your eye. Then it seems as if a hand is reaching out from right behind you to grasp a hold of your face. And you dive away, turning back to see a figure made entirely of shadow has attempted to drag you in itself. Once more, it is making its fight. Creature continues to reach out. However, it is not able to get a hold of you. Grabbing a hold of the stick that it snapped on its initial entrance, you're able to keep a distance enough between itself and you, uncertain of if a single point of contact is enough for it to be able to grasp hold and never let go. You're able to maneuver it so that your back is to the last entrance, able to possibly flee. However, the creature itself stumbles forward. Yes, the screen is supposed to be this chart map. It stumbles forward and it lands face first onto one of the thick spears, sharpened by the snapped point, and impales itself. The creature gives a ghastly wail. And then goes limp. Kind of shrug because, well... No worries, no worries. It fades before your eyes, slinking back into the very shadows that birthed it. What lies in its place? Let us see. I'm evil, so roll it. In its place, resting just on the very edge, well, basically falling from where it was impaled by the stick, a single silver coin falls to the ground with a lovely jingle. We can add that to our new loot. So, wait. We are putting this on the wrong way. That's a mistake on my part. I will fix that immediately. All the while. Yes. Perfect. The battle encounter music has ended. They can return ambience of the dungeon. I will leave the loot and equipment on the very beginning. Hiya Swag, we are currently playing Dungeon Delver, a game that was created by one of the Shinatics. Oh. No. We'll leave that as it is. Remove that. It is a single-player dungeon delving RPG. Now we have just completed three battle encounters in a row. We will be rolling to determine what our next room is. So I will pull up. Oh, that is the menu. That is the table for our loot. We want these rooms over on the side here. We got a 9. A dead-end corridor. So for us to determine where to put this corridor, I think the fair idea to have it, make sure I'm on the clear, yep. Right here. One single corridor. Make our way back. But what happens when we enter that room? Let us find out. See. The clank of metal on metal echoes through this small chamber. Clink, 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 clink. Sounding like slowed footsteps. What is very clearly a zombified soldier in a suit of armor approaches. How are we able to best this foe? Okay. It comes closer into view. Your eye is now adjusted to the dark. The face is barely visible underneath the rusted and decaying armor. Its helmet barely staying on, causing its head to lurch from side to side with each step. As it reaches its hands out to grab you, and you duck under, kicking it over. Its weakened arms leave it unable to pick itself up from the ground, unable to lift itself from the earth. You make swift work of finishing off the beast with your new axe. Now let us see what kind of treasure. You search through the creature, the monster. However, all of its armor is seemingly unusable in its current state, possibly causing you more ailments than it would give you aid. However, attached to its hip is a single pouch, possibly the last remaining of what looters possibly came in before and took. You find in it another small handful of silver coins. And with that, we roll once more for another room. Appears to be another dead end. Oddly enough. Oops, that was way off. And with that, we make our way back to the very beginning room. Before the start. I mean, if there's one for the mothers, there's gotta be one for the fathers. So we stand back where we first began. But we were not able to make it to a room. So nothing really happens. However, we do roll for another. If I'm not mistaken. It's out. Continuing forward, we're now at a crossroads. And it still remains quiet. Eerily quiet. What is our next room? Ah, perfect. Just a week. Before us is a room that appears to lead to the side. The side? What in the world? No, I did not want that. Wonder what will lie within this room. It's the encounter, say. You hear the skittering of something around you. The unmistakable tapping of small feet. Not really feet. Mandibles. As along the wall you see a large centipede skitter down to the floor before you. It rears up and begins to hiss. You've clearly entered the beast's territory. Panicked for a moment at the sight of this large vermin before you. You are unsettled. However, you extend your axe out before you, prepared, if anything, to flail it madly. It begins to skitter forward. It's faster than you expected. And in a moment in a moment of panic, you bring the axe back and bring it down, hoping to attack it. You close your eyes for a moment. You don't hear the skittering anymore. You open your eyes again to find that you have split the creature's head in twain. Its repulsive body jerking and twitching in death. However, it is confirmed that you can confirm that it is now very dead. That was easier than you anticipated, but perhaps your nerves made it harder for yourself. And then you find, however, along the side of the room you find another axe. Trying to keep your... It smells your magical most now. Getsus was number 9, by the way. That's wild. I'm gonna put an X2 here. However, that does not mean we get to use it twice. That just means we have one. We can use one of these 2 axes. So we're probably going to use the really cool one. Whichever one that is, I will leave that up to you. We can possibly have found like a really cool glowing super axe. And right now we have we just found the burning super death axe. Thankfully, we stopped it from nobbing us. We are able to once more move on. You can see why not many adventurers come back from this dungeon. Nothing but threats and violence thus far. Let's see, what did let's get? Ah, interesting. Leading out from this room is a single corridor. Following that direction, we are able to catch our breath, able to avoid another encounter. Before heading into the next room. Taking your head in, you're able to determine that there is only one door in this room. One way out, directly through. What do we have with this? Ah, understandable. As you step into the room, air grows stiff, as if there's something pausing it. In fact, everything goes quiet. Even your very breath. Can't hear it. What could possibly be causing this, you think to yourself? Underfoot, a mechanism shifts. And all around you, the room grows dark, save for a glowing light at the very top. A crystal, dim from ancient times and a long-standing glow, able to illuminate. What is that, a figure? Seems to be a novice cell sword. What could they possibly be doing in this dungeon? You brandish your axe in response. And you can tell the sellsword moves in. Their face completely blocked from view by, it seems to be the universe itself stopping you from seeing it. Their cowl denying you the view of their eyes. So you have to take a guess at where they're going to attack. You shift your axe to catch their blade as they go for your legs, and the main heft of their blade catches in the wood of your axe. The swift left hook, you knock their lights out, or at least knock them down for a moment. Their sword still embedded in your axe's handle. I had to think of the word there. In your axe's handle. You raise it up. The weight, unfamiliar, odd, and awkward now. You adjust for it as you swing the axe down right on the sellsword's neck, severing it. However, as its head severs, blood does not spill out. However, instead, some kind of dark miasma. It begins to leave its body as the whole figure begins to fade. Light returns to the room, and the crystal glows brightly once more. Sound returns. You can hear your breathing again. Your increased heart rate now apparent in your ears. As easy as this might have felt, tension was still there. Dungeon. Oh no, not that. But you know to make haste out of this room. Something is not right. Eyes. Looking into the next room, you see it is once more a large room with one opening at the far side. Take a moment's breath. As always. Better to breathe now than to get winded later. You walk into the next room, and out of your right ear, you hear a You swat at it. And on your left ear, you suddenly hear a It appears a gnat has grown quite fond of your presence. You begin swatting at it wildly, unsure of where it is or how it could be, or where it could be in the air. Tired of this gnat's business, bothering you, bugging you as it were. You swing. You swing with your hands, you swing with your axe. And at some point in your mad flailing, the room grows still and quiet. Already deal with the bugs up here, it's annoying. Yeah. Now you got a dungeon bug. You notice that without this bug bothering you, buzzing in your ear, this appears to be a place that was of some kind of ritual site. And along the left wall, also I've got to Draw the arrow for the last turn. This turn. Around this area here, where the 4 is, you see a small idol sitting on a pedestal, unbothered by decades. Still, you could possibly make some decent money with this. That's not how you spell idol. With 200 points. Your rucksack feeling mighty valuable, or at least much more valuable than it was when you entered, you determined to continue forward. Reach. Path. Splits. Goes and turns to your right. You hear the slight drip drop of rain, or maybe there's a river nearby or above. It's a soft sound, echoing through this quiet place. It's soothing, for a moment at least. Take a moment to sit down. You've fought many odd encounters here already. The air is still unsafe, and there's far more to explore. Ooh, that rolled off the table. Ooh. I see. Picking up your rucksack and axe, move forward into the next room. And go. Another dead end. But it seems this place is a little more important. At least with all the greenery around. How greenery is maintained by the dim light of one of these sky crystals still bewildering. However, this is downright overgrown. Whatever that drip drop sound was clearly must have been feeding into this room. However, for too long, you notice possibly one of the plants themselves is moving, shifting. What's happening right before? What is happening? It's odd. Too odd, I'd say. Peering forward, just out of eyes, just before you, shadow emerges, silhouetted against the wall by the crystal. It appears to be some sort of creature made of the roots of the very plants themselves. The dungeon has given life to these plants, and these plants will protect the dungeon. As you attempt to slam your axe into the creature as it approaches, it dodges. Parts of the vines or roots themselves separating to give safe passage of your axe. In fact, impressively enough, the monster itself gets a couple of hits on you. The vines and roots lashing at the exposed skin of your arm, barely drawing blood, but still drawing blood. Fearing the worst and that there might be some kind of poison in the air, you seek to get this done as swiftly as you can. You feint a lateral slash, and as the plants separate, you change the trajectory, causing an uppercut, and a diagonal uppercut at that, through what we could call the arm of the creature and its head. While the axe isn't sharp, your might was able to put just enough force to chip off a part of it. Creature stunned, you continue to hack away at parts of it with your dull axe, now knowing to use the other axe in future combats. Possibly that could possibly help. You enter a frenzy and wind up leaving the root monster only a pile of twigs. Oh. You fall to your knees, tired from the exertion and the adrenaline fading from your mind. And at your feet, well, at your knees rather now, a number of gold coins. You place them in your rucksack, satisfied that the combat didn't leave you empty-handed. And onward to your next... And now, onward to the next room. But what will it be? Let us see. Add this here. Another cord. A light shines from the end of this tunnel. You can't quite make out the sound coming from the other side, but you can hear something, faintly. You find another T-junction. And at the center of this one is a small fountain resting in the wall. The ornate carving seemingly made of marble, unbefitting the very crude stonework that fills the rest of the dungeon thus far. However, water seems clear, and it's flowing. Take a moment and splash some of it on your face. The light hanging above seemingly brighter, a bit brighter. And you yourself a tad more rejuvenated than you last were. That moment of reprieve done, we'll add our next room on. make our move. This room, you can almost hear the sound of metal on metal. Slight clank. As if, some kind of... About to get sleep with some things for stream my game. Thank you for... I'm happy to stream the game. This is a lot of fun. Hopefully we are our results are impressive. Now, whatever this clanking might be, it's to be determined as we continue forward. Ooh, interesting how this is going. Another straightaway. It's getting louder as you continue to approach. Before your eyes, a wide-open room is spread out, each wall seemingly powered by light and moving some sort of odd mechanisms, gears grinding against each other. And it seems that the clanking was the sound of metal hammers repairing the room itself. As you're observing the marvel of the room around you, you almost fail to notice a small figure pick itself up from the ground. It seems to be a creature created from the very debris caused by the room's maintenance. While it is a little guy, it is still combat. The tiny being begins to flail its arms and rush towards you. However, you look down at it as it approaches, unimpressed by its minuscule size, reaching about 20 centimeters in height. You reel back and you give it a swift kick, spreading the stones that comprise it all across the floor and rendering it unable to fight. You shrug, as well, that's it, I guess. Oh wait, that's the wrong die for treasure. In one of the machines, you notice that there's a bit of sparking coming from the gears forcing the hammer. And upon investigation, somebody has shoved a knife deep within the socket. You're able to pry it out. Now have a knife. Let's see what we're gonna go with. we can calculate the value of the equipment later, because each equipment does have a value to it. However, now's not the time for counting that. Onward to the next room. Oh, that was a little too far down. Now, exploration done here. We can return to the ambience. Before whatever happens in this room happens. This room seems to be oddly designed, oddly unfitting of the rest of the dungeon. You've noticed that it's been stone, very crudely cut stone at that, as if it's been sitting there for who knows how long, untended to. The last room being a welcome surprise from that, with a self-creating and self-propagating room. However, this room, it's marble white, all around, handcrafted, stonework displaying the likes of gods and monsters battling in grand cascading wars that fall upon humankind, reflecting so many mythos that you've become familiar with. One of these figures turns to you. From the very marble itself, a demon emerges. Its crooked smile shattering and reshaping the stone that it's made from. Nay, it's not a demon. It's a gargoyle. Its sharp teeth, now even sharper by the jaggedness of the broken stone. It approaches. And it's hungry. With a lash of its tail, it catches the very opened wound in your arm that the last creature left. Or not last creature, but the plant creature left. It stings as the wound opens further. It drags the blood across its tongue, savoring the flavor. A shudder runs down your spine. But you are able to regain your composure and brandish your axe. See what you did there. Need a sip of water there. Trying to best not to let yourself get out of hand like you were before. You're able to swing the flat end of the axe, slamming it into the creature's face. You hear this shatter of something. Find that one of its eye sockets now leaves its stone eye dangling. The creature is stunned as it lashes out once more with its tail wildly, and you're able to dive back, just out of range. Before the creature can make another slash with its tail, you take the heft of your blunt axe and slam it down on the creature's tail, severing the very tip and leaving the creature with a wretched shriek. With one final swing. Not sure which part of it hits the creature next. The gargoyle falls, its head shattered. And you are able to catch your breath for just a moment. Let's see, what do we get from the table? As the creature begins to crumble before your very eyes, and its place on the carving, now apparent and very different, a large sapphire falls to the ground. How many points was this? Ah! Your eyes light up. This is clearly the most valuable thing you've seen thus far. Now this is what you were hoping for from this dungeon. What room do we enter next? Guess we can chain back ambience. Interesting. Leaving the marble room, you enter a room that is now much darker. The lights in the previous room seeming much more powerful and much more potent. Odd how it's so different from the rest of the dungeon. You hear the clitter-clat... Yeah, I'll call it clitter-clatter. Of bones. Clink, clattering along the ground. Shifting. And rolling. In the very center of the room, before you, a skeleton builds itself.
Well, we have an intruder now, do we? Let me tell you, I've got a bone to pick with you!
It says, reaching down to the ground and pulling up a small handgun. It cocks back it cocks it back. It cocks back the hammer and aims the barrel towards you. It pulls the trigger and a click is heard, very audibly.
Well, give me just a second.
It pulls back the action and begins staring at the bullets.
Oh yeah, I used all... Oh yeah! It looks like I, used all of the bullets on the last 6 intruders, and I don't have any more.
Is that Papyrus? It very well could be. Yeah, I like the way you think.
Well, this is awkward. Would you be willing to, turn back around and leave? without me needing to shoot you. Like, I just don't have any reason to do it, and, I don't have... I don't have any way to do it. So, if you approach further, ready to attack. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. We can talk this out like reasonable people. You seem to have a busted up axe there. Maybe I could give you something that could help a little bit more. Than that axe. Oh, I have just the thing. The skeleton scrambles to the corner of the room. Starts rummaging around in a large bundle of cloth. And pulls something out. You're able to tell it's a bottle of some kind. One of the last foolish intruders determined that it would be a wise idea to bring one of these along. I don't see you having one. But I can't see into your rucksack, so take this potion. It should be good for, ever? I've never seen one of these go unused, so... You take the potion from the skeleton's hand, and... in the confusion, he skitters off. Going through the very door you came in through. And the potion is one retry of a challenge. With that, you shrug and move on. Alright, here we go. Thankfully, we were able to get an exit. However, we were not able to get to said exit before the next room. The last room that we are putting down on this floor is... oh, interestingly enough. A three-way corridor. Or not a three-way corridor, a three-way room. However, we will not be needing to go there. So we will continue right on ahead. And into the final room of the dungeon. At least floor 0. From the ground below, or from the stairwell to the way down, you hear a squeal. Some kind of animalistic squeal. But it's not quite right. It's that of a swine. Something else. Before you're able to process it, the chill running down your back, pausing you. A large swine, roughly the size of a sedan, charges up the stairs. Its squeal piercing your ears for a moment and leaving a ring in its place. However, you're more than ready for this. Creature bites at you. It appears hungry. Who knows when the last time this large swine was fed? Or you dread the thought of where its last meal may have come from. That dreadful thought catching your attention as the bovine tackles you to the ground.
You're able to keep its gnashing jaws at bay with one of your axes. And with the other, you're able to make a slash against its neck, critically wounding the creature, and barely able to escape. And you're able to barely make it out unscathed. It kicks at you, catching your sternum, and knocks you back for a moment. But you're able to dive right back in and deal one final slash to the creature's head, splitting into its skull. Shuddering even more at the thoughts before you. The room grows still. However, your eyes are caught by a pair of shiny gold coins that the beast must have trampled over on its way up. Sitting slightly embedded in the stairs, you're able to pull them out. And with that, we go on to the next floor. I didn't write all of that on the dais. So, take a quick moment to rewrite these on the base layer. Because we're going to be removing this second layer. Moving into floor 1. Also, I might as well change up the music from this weird, from the combat. It's not really weird, it's combat. Back to the exploration. Let's see, what more do we need to remove? And oh yeah, we gotta add the +2 for the ×2 for the axes. We got 2 axes, a potion, a magnification crystal, a knife, 2 silver coins, an idol, 2 sets of gold coins, and a jewel, which I have put under jewelry. Very successful first floor thus far. Oh, hold on. That's 3, 3, 5, 0. Oh no, not that. Okay. I'll go over. Erase the stuff we don't need. Layer that's already not really what we want. I'll clean up this layer a little bit. So that's 1x retry. Okay, so with that, let me refresh myself on going to the next floor. Where was that again? Ah, yes, here it is. When you reach the stairs, start a new map with the same type of grid system, but place a stairs room, same coordinates where we found them on the level above. Okay, so that means we make an identical room, but I'm going to reverse the size of these. And there's our starting room. We don't need to pay any mind to that. So, let's begin our first roll in Dungeon Level 1. Ah. We begin with the stench that this floor gives us as we walk through a tunnel filled with refuse of some kind. The decay of this level far greater than the level above. Almost as if this was a place where the dead if this were somehow the place where dead were buried. Next one. Corridor makes a right turn. However, the scent remains, and you notice that your steps sound a lot wetter in certain places. Another right turn. A light glows off in the distance. Also, this was last turn. This is this turn. Oh, that rolled off the table. An open room filled with decaying flesh, bone, and some still whole corpses. Your suspicion about this being a room filled with the dead, or this lair being riddled with the dead, rings true. Wait, that was the wrong die. A sickening smell of rot. It gets even more putrid as you notice a small mass of the corpses begin to writhe, the flesh flowing from one onto another, bones connecting in even though they're not of the same original body. You stand before an amalgam of not even just human, but bone and flesh created by some sort of magics. Begins to approach you. Heeding the words of the skeleton from the last floor, you swap out the axe that you had before. You're going to need something a little sharper. The other one essentially being better used as a hammer at this point. Oh, I almost forgot. Gotta draw the arrow coming in here. As it lunges towards you, you're able to shift to the left, slashing off one of its arms, letting it fall to the floor. The flesh begins to puddle off of the bone. Whatever magics are causing it to congeal into one form, it's not strong. It's not strong enough. You slash once more, aiming to get something a little heftier, and you cleave into its main body. Just roll this. An odd sound echoes as it sounds like you cleave into a piece of wood. And as you pull back your axe, a torch comes along with you. That's awesome! I just noticed I got a message. I don't know if you're still here, Swag, but thanks! I'm on... Oh, hey, Petals! You caught us just as we were delving into the technically first floor of the dungeon. We just fought a weird flesh amalgam. Somehow a torch was at the very center of it, which we will now add to our inventory. Torch... It really doesn't have any benefit, but it'll definitely help. Dictionary. Alright, but also, Swag just sent over something from Pictionary that I thought would be funny to share. I should also save it. How's the stream going? If I'm on at high stream, let's see. Where is it? It's Shin. I'm just gonna kind of have this hanging out over here. So, we have successfully ended this encounter, so I will change the music back from the intense combat to the spooky ambience. Okay, so next we roll for the next room. Whoa, we got really lucky with this one. So, we now go into the next floor. So, beyond the refuse pit, we step into a room that is unlike the others. Very odd, very unorthodox in its nature. It's a room made entirely of metal. And From the stairwell, you hear the small clink and clank of more metal on metal as a very small spherical creature made entirely out of metal approaches. Its eyes glow red, and it strikes an odd fighting pose, like you would see a pugilist strike. Let's see. What music shall we put on next for this odd creature? Yeah! It's a little metallic in here. It begins to try and attack its attack with a flurry of blows upon you. However, it's uncoordinated enough that you're able to easily parry them with kicks of your own. You take your blunted axe and use it more like a golf club and smack the little being into the wall. Whoa. All right. I'm a little shocked by this one, but lucky be lucky, I guess. From the creature's head falls a golden crown. Which falls to the floor. I almost wrote crown in this section there. And with that, we have successfully finished floor 1. I know I put the torch and the crown on the wrong layer, so I'm going to just add those here. Oh no, that's that. You get an odd feeling about the next floor. Oh. I clicked the wrong button. We're going to create the stairs here. Oh, wrong one. And then we will get rid of floor 1. Welcome to floor 2. What's our first thing? Back nose time. Travel safe, Leon. Okay. Ooh, okay. Nice room. Nice room. Okay. You step out into the next room. It's unlike anything you've ever seen before. take a deep breath, and it's sweet. Not sweet like the rot from above, but sweet like somebody sprayed a perfume. And it's everywhere. Speaking of everywhere, lights dance along the walls and from the ceiling. Never seen a room like this before. Even the floor in some spaces has lights dancing from side to side. It's an overwhelming sensation. All senses feel overwhelmed. Just as you begin to recollect yourself, a larger metal being, not an automaton, as you cannot see any gears or cogs in its being. Instead, it seems to be powered by electricity and completely on its own. No controller anywhere around. Its eyes turn to you, eyes glowing red. It begins to approach. It's slow in its approach. Slow, but consistent. Its almost human-like visage sends a chill down your spine. If things couldn't get worse, it went from beings made of involuntary flesh to metal itself mimicking man. Resolving to continue using the blunter of the two axes, you brandish it, hold it out before you, and begin to prod at it, poking away its hands when it begins to lurch and lunge, deftly maneuvering when it sends even one of its own hands with some kind of projectile force at you. Though as it begins to reel back the cable that connects it, you're able to sever it just barely in time with the blunter axe. You slam the axe into the the robot's neck. You hear a crack as sparks begin to spurt out of it. It powers down, falls back. What do you get from this encounter? Oh, snap. Wait. Oh, of course, I rolled the wrong die again. I got a net 20 when I don't need to roll a 20-sided die. Silly me. Ah, yes. Finding the creature's carapace? No. Carapace isn't the right word. Is it? Whatever it is, we were able to pry off a large chunk from its chest and fashion a makeshift shield out of it. Oh, no, wait, I just realized. Gotta put that on the base layer. +2 to the body. The dim light's not proving too difficult. You are able to find your way to the next room. What room is that? We will find out. Ah, good. Something we needed. So, hopefully the encounter within is friendly enough. corner room. You see chairs made of leather, the colors of which you've never seen before, so bright and vibrant amidst the dark background and odd flashing lights and colors. It's an odd enough distraction that you hardly notice another, not an automaton this time, rather not a robot. It seems to be a small quadrupedal being, mimicking that of either a beetle or a dog, skitter forth. Much like the handgun in the hand of the skeleton above, you don't recognize the barrel pointing at you. Recognizing the threat that a possibly loaded gun could have, given how the skeleton a few floors above informed you, you dive behind one of the chairs, one of the seats, as you hear it begin opening fire at where you were at. Thinking to yourself quickly, you recognize that if you hit the barrel, it'll get knocked off, and possibly, if you knock the creature over, it'll have to spend time to right itself. So, with your quick thing and even quicker actions, you take one of your axes and you throw it with as much might as you can muster, and you slam the handle of the axe into the side of this creature, causing it to tumble over. However, it begins to squirm, its legs shifting and moving. It seems to be trying to right itself by pushing itself onto its back first. You see this opportunity as your one golden chance. You dive over the leather seat, holding your other axe in hand, and begin to slam as many times as you can into the carapace of this odd being. Soon enough, you hear the same shutting down sound that the previous human-like robot gave. What did you get? Wiping your brow, you're able to, for a moment, glance around the room before the lights, with the lights of the flickering electricity coming off of the robot's body. You spotted an odd sight for such a dark environment. A tome. I put it on the wrong layer. Let me fix that. Okay. Oops. Yeah, the tome is +2 to mind. We're starting to run out of space for all of our stuff, all of our loot. Now, we move on. Next room, next possibility. Single corridor, giving you a moment's reprieve as the music and sound is dampened. You notice that there appear to be a couple of machines that are now shut down, not unlike the ones that you have shut down yourself, scattering the sides of the hallway, as it were. What path lies before us? Ah, fascinating. You open a door to find that the next room is instead a slightly slimmer hallway. No robotic corpses litter the walls of this one. This is wild. You continue on into yet another corridor. This one wider than the last, and with a lot of liquid on the ground, which you can tell just by the scent alone is very highly flammable. Very likely an alcohol of some kind, though you think you'd also hazard a guess that's probably a large combination of of many. This is awesome. You enter into another corridor. This one, slightly darker, but you're able to see a light at the very end. Coming from underneath a door. Let's see what the next room holds for you. It seems to be a room made once more of stone. Not the metal or whatever odd glass the previous rooms had held as their flooring. It feels like you're back up 2 floors above. But instead you're right here. Thankfully the crystal above gives you good vision around. You can see many scrawlings of "Rob was here" and other sorts of graffiti. Continue onward. Moving through, you find another corridor. This one snakes a bit, seeming to be warped. Possibly something to do with time and space itself? It's uncertain. However, what is certain is that you cannot make this up. Another corridor lies before you. The music gets louder as you walk through this one. Thank goodness. I don't know if I'm getting lucky or what, in that I can get some good rooms. You enter into another large room. This one feels slightly larger than the previous. The floors of glass light up and shine in different colors. But let's see what lies ahead of you in this. Oh, rolled off the table. A large, bulky robot appears before you. It seems to be the size of a wagon and bipedal. Boxy in its design, with 2 hands ending in like those little clampy bits that you would see a blacksmith hold. Or a blacksmith hold a piece of near molten metal with. Let's be... Sorry. Let's begin to dance. It begins to shift from side to side, its main body doing most of the work, as its legs remain in place. Its arms doing like a little like if you know the like Lethal Company jig where they do like the pump in the hands and they do forward, back, up and down, forward, back. It appears to be doing something like that with its arms. Seeing that it has challenged you to a dance battle, you determine that the best course of action for this is to use all that you can at your disposal. So you begin to bust a move, as it were. You take your axe, and you begin to twirl it around you. The lights catching and reflecting off of it in a beautiful display. You then take out the shield that you just got from the not automaton robot, and begin to spin it and set yourself on your side in it to make it look as if you're doing that breakdancing spin. The robot is in awe of your dance moves and your ability to use such unorthodox tools to bring life to dance. A tear sheds from its eye, and it begins to short circuit because a tear shed from its eye. Let's see what you get from this. Oh, once more, I rolled the wrong. Ah! Lovely. As you make your way out, you find a rope. Oh, what? Oh, no. Alright. Fixing that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So many pixels you won't even be able to tell what it says. So few pixels you won't be able to tell what it says. There we go. +1 to body for the rope. Oh boy. So, time for us to roll for our next encounter. Also, I'm going to just draw a big line. Nope, that's the wrong layer. Okay, so next roll for our next room or corridor. It's a corridor. And now it's going to bank off to the right. Where to next? Ah. Yeah, that's the dead end. So, you enter in through the corridor once more. Seems this is... From the smell, you can't quite tell. It feels chemical in its scent. It's offensive to your nose, but as you walk past some of the small boxed... They're not quite rooms, but they seem to be rooms. The smell within them can be... some of them seems to be far more offensive than the chemical scent. One of the robots steps out from one of the stalls. Says,
Trust me, you don't want to go into that one. It refers to the one behind it. A sense of disgust washes over you, and you brandish your weapon, recognizing, and the robot recognizes the threat to it. However, you're able to very quickly and swiftly dispatch of the robot. In one fell swoop, you knock it back into the stall it was just in, and it hits the plunger on the toilet. The water splashes up and causes it to short circuit. Let's see, what do we get from this? Oh, we get a pair of boots. Plus 2 to move. Sweet, sweet. Oh, hold on. Forgot to add the +1 to the move for the torch. We are running out of... We have run out of space. So, with that, I will start keeping track of other items off this screen. However, if something does come into play, I will add it to that important layer. Let's see. You want to double check. Alright. So we will move back from whence we came after we roll for the next room. What is this one? Ah, interesting. Once more. Wrong layer. Wrong layer, me. There we go. We return and enter into a 4-way intersection. Which will continue into a hallway heading to the right. Which I forgot to move us into before we enter into the next room, which is... Oh. Ah, ugh. Okay. Entering into the next room. Okay. Okay. Precedented, thankfully. Before you stands a room with almost everything broken and damaged, battered, and almost unrecognizable to any of the rooms that you'd seen previously. And in the very center of the room is a shadowy figure.
Not quite unlike the shadowy figure you encountered back on the first floor. However, instead of being completely composed of shadow, with each step you can hear the slosh of some kind of viscous substance, the clank of armor on the ground. If that is armor. It's not easy to tell, even amidst the torchlight, what it is, or what it's made of. With 3 arms and 2 legs, it's questionable if whether or not this is more bug, or beast, or man. Or even if it is any of those things above at all. It starts to approach you. It holds a flail in its hand. You begin to approach as well, recognizing the likely danger that the flail can pose. And as it swings at you once, you're able to get its flail to bind around your axe and pull and rip it out of the creature's hands. Or at least you thought. As instead of the item getting ripped out of its hands, it's more like you pulled its arms and outstretched them beyond their normal limits. It seems to try and weakly jerk them back, but it's not a match for the power you have in your hands. With a mighty slash, you're able to rend its head from its shoulders. Even still, it continues to pull. You bash it in the odd chest cavity that it has, which causes it to erupt outward. The viscous, gooey substance that made up its body now erupting from each of its joints. It falls to the ground. You find another torch on the wall leading out. Speaking of leading out, where does this lead out into? Another corridor lies before you. Oddly pleasant to hear these sounds of music again, echoing through the chamber. However, the music grows a bit dimmer. Dimmer might not be the right word. Quieter. Basically the same thing. As you enter into the hallway, or the stairwell, into the next floor. However, you hear something approaching from the stairwell. That rolled on almost onto the floor. A strange substance, very clearly metallic, almost like quicksilver, approaches you. It moves against gravity, moving up against the stairwell, and appears before you. It seems to... It almost feels like it's looking at you with its presence. And wearily, you watch as it takes your own visage made almost entirely of this quicksilver-esque matter. It's a spitting image of you, and it holds up a weapon similar to your axe. I tell you what you do. You've never known to fight something that so accurately resembled yourself. However, a first time comes for everything. And so, now, unlike any other, you fight yourself. Trading blows and your axe almost cleaving into them. However, at certain points, when you slash off things like an egg, as an Elden Ring, I thought of a mimic. That's fair. Its leg is severed and pools beneath it, returning to it and popping out as another. You understand that taking out limbs is not going to work. However, you do seem to notice over the course of the fight something surging through, something moving amidst the body itself. Up and down. Trying, not so much avoiding your attacks, but going to points of leverage where it needs to move. You see it go for an attack laterally, and you sweep back. However, in its right shoulder on your left, you see right there the bulge of that same whatever it is, and you take your opportunity to slash deep into it as hard as you can and sever whatever connection it has to that substance. You stand over the puddle of metal with a core of some kind split. Let's see what you get from this. Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. From that core, drop a number of silver coins. Whether or not they were powering this machine has yet to be seen. Oh, wait, no, I should write that on the main level. It said write it on the main level. There we go. So in 6A, when we create a new tab, we'll create our next floor. And with that, I think that's a good point for us to take a quick break. I will be right back, but I will leave you with the I don't know why I said leave like that. I will leave you with the entertainment of Shinito. But until then, I'll be right back. Get in there, you. Okay. Good, you didn't get up to any trouble this time, Shinito. I was worried that my slightly longer delay than usual would have caused him to act a little out. Thankfully, that's not the case. Oh, what? Where'd it go? Where'd the game go? Oh yeah, there's... Time to change up the music. Alright. Stepping down into the next layer of this dungeon, you find that things feel off. More so than ever before. It's a dream. It feels more like a dream than ever before. No matter how many times you pinch yourself, nothing seems to shake that feeling. You step out, and before your very eyes, the world, it seems to fall away. You're surrounded by space. Stars from distant planets sprinkle around you. And a doorway over a unsecured path is beckoning to you. Oh. Let's see. What was this one again? Okay. That opening of light extends, and you walk out into a lovely open meadow. The moon hangs low above it, massive in its size. Let's just refresh what level we're on of the dungeons. We had level 1, or 0, 1, 2, so we are on level 3. However, something does not feel quite right upon entering this mysterious meadow. The plants begin to speak to you. They beckon you to lie down, to take a rest. You've been at this adventure for quite some time, fought so many battles. They whisper deep into your mind. The back of it, you can almost feel yourself easing into it. You think to yourself to if you're going to relax, you should at least open up something to read. And within the tome, you open it and you read. Rest is not what you will receive here, only eternal punishment. And for a moment, everything flickers. The meadow transforms from this dreamy scape with a moon hung over the amidst the stars to nothing but red. A red plain from which mouths on stalks speak and whisper into your ear. A number of them around you have slowly begun to move towards you, as if to begin eating. You stand up abruptly and begin to make your way out through one of the open doors. What door do we open into? Ah, perfect. So we'll just follow this. Move into the next room. It also feels quite odd, but unlike the last one with a field of flowers, you enter into a dark wooded area. The moon bright above you and shining down. You hear the lurch of something in the trees. That cough was not from the creature, mind you. A werewolf appears, appearing more beast than man. It approaches slowly, thinking you haven't noticed it yet, as you've only caught a glimpse of it out of the corner of your eye. Oh, snap. Something in this moment draws your ire to a boil. There's a frustration of, amidst all of these things, this werewolf approaching you is something to snap. You take the handle of your sharpened axe, ready it, and the moment the beast comes to strike, you deftly cleave into its face. Its muzzle split. It falls to the ground with a hollow thud, and the forest grows quiet, even more quiet. Let's see. From this bit, another shield is found. You find another shield sitting beside it against a tree. The elements have not been unkind to it, but it appears to be rather shoddy. Let's see for the shield. So, what, upon exiting through the bright gateway, another sharp corner is reached. That is not where I want that line to be. This is one we've already had before. Let me double check what item. Ah! Lovely. So. It enters into a room unique. Ugh. Gotta change it back. It appears to be something out of an old school. Small schoolhouse. Familiar, but distant. Let's see, what did I just roll? Ah, wonderful. The entire building is at one moment ripped from the ground, ripped from the floor you stand on, and towering over you is a large, building-sized creature. It appears to be humanoid, Mostly. It has the back half of a beetle, but from its head, a humanoid structure, and the head of a goat. So let me draw the lines. It stares down at you, almost mocking in its nature, but also an odd, unnerving smile spreads across its face. A shudder ripples down your back as it skitters toward you. You'll have to act fast. It seems quite powerful. However, you know deep down you are no more than a match for this nightmare creature. It goes to grab at you, and you're able to swiftly duck out of the way, and drag one of the blades of your axe against its wrist, severing the tendon in its hand. It gives a dreadful roar, one that would wake anyone from such a nightmare. It rears up on its back legs and goes to slam its front section down on you, entire body, hoping to crush you. Actually, we can zoom in a little bit more. But that's exactly what you want it to do. You want it to slam down so that you can get a better angle at its head. It slams down, and as you duck out of the way, before it has the chance to bite at you or rear its head back, you start hacking into its neck, tearing chunks of viscera and muscle, where you find the carotid artery and sever it. It reels back, now bleeding out, the huge chunk you've taken out of its neck proving to be a mortal wound. You have bested the nightmare creature. It fades into a bright light. And from that bright light, what should you find? Ah, I see. You find a scroll. The text upon it is unfamiliar. I'm just going to put scroll there for a moment. The text upon it is near unreadable, but you understand that if you were to hold this scroll and channel your energy into it, focus your mind, you would be able to teleport. The scroll of teleportation is yours. Next up. Oh, again, I do that. I do that. I've been doing that too much. Gotta remember the layers. Alright. You enter into a corridor that seems like it's from the very first floor. This is floor 0. It's almost uncanny in its simplicity. But the corridor continues and continues. Feels like it's going on forever. Perhaps it's been an hour, perhaps it's been just a moment, but however long it takes, you're unsure. feels wrong. Find yourself on a beach. The gateway behind you, leading back, but in front of you, a vast black ocean. The light from the moon hardly bring any color, any light. It's overwhelming to a point. A beach that stretches on against such a dark sight. In the distance, you see a mountain, what seems to be a mountain erupting, or already having erupted from the ocean, and a twin at its side, reaching over but not quite making that connection. And from the water, something drags itself. It seems to be human, but across its body there lie those barnacles? A shudder for a second as you see that the body is being controlled by them, and it is approaching you, perhaps looking for a healthier vessel, perhaps hoping to eat, if that vessel is still. It's thankfully, the creature's slow. Very slow. Slower than even the shambling corpse you encountered before. You're able to easily chuck off all of these barnacles, all these parasites taking control of the host, and stamping them as hard as you can. Their carapace cracks, shatters, and leaves behind nothing but the viscera of their death, and one body, now motionless. And from that, what do you get? Another rope! I put that on the wrong layer again. Okay! With that bone-chilling encounter done, it's time to find the next room we're entering. What? Is this? Yeah, no. This is another one of these such... I'm doing it again! I'm writing on the base layer. You find yourself standing behind a house. A fence around it, and very lovely green lawn. The sky remains dark, but light is cast down, and wait, it seems as though the light is focusing on a point. Or maybe... how odd. It seems as though it's creating a cone of light, as if it's a spotlight. And from that spotlight descends something. It's hard to explain. It walks on 6 legs, but 2 of which seem more like hands. Its body is thin, frail, but its entire body appears cloaked in some kind of layer of shadow. You see one eye gazing through it at you. That eye shifting, moving between parts. At one point, a hand, as it shuffles towards you, it's moving rather swiftly. You have to think fast and you have to act fast, but you don't act fast enough. The creature grabs hold of you, hands on both shoulders. One hand on each shoulder, one hand on each wrist, holding you in place as its eye approaches you further, closer, deeper into you. And as soon as it gets close enough that you can see your reflection in its eye, you wake up in the corridor right before this. At the intersection, you look back at where you think you just came from, but there's nothing there. There's no doorway. There is nothing. So all that's left is to move on. The answers to that possibly never coming. However, there's no time to think about that. You find your way into the stairwell, dreading what the next floor might hold. From the stairwell, you hear the clatter of footsteps. Footsteps in armor. And these aren't uncoordinated footsteps either. These are the footsteps of, it sounds like, a knight of some kind. And just as you think that to yourself, just that, a fully armored figure ascends the staircase. And you can tell their focus is on you. Though no words are spoken. However, they raise their sword, a great sword, to you. You raise your own axe, confident in what you'll be able, confident in your abilities. You've been not only training, you've basically been training this whole time to fight something so strong. Someone so strong. And for a moment, it seems just that. You match your blade to theirs. Slash meeting slash. You dodge a number of lateral slashes, smacking the leg out of place, just so that their form is slightly off enough that you'll probably get an opening. And soon enough, that opening does arrive. As they're going for a more wild swing, you're able to get underneath their helmet with a slash, knocking it clean off. But to your confusion, instead of there being a human head underneath it, it fades into darkness. That same miasma from before, oozing from what would be a neck of this suit of armor. You reign victorious. What spoils do you receive? In the wake of the creature's death, it leaves behind its boots. Think that you are quite happy with ones you already have. You seek to put them, well, put them into your bag and are on your way down the stairs. One floor deeper. And here we are. You step down. Silence echoes through every chamber. You can't hear anything, a peep, a soul. But you walk forward. Let's see, what is our... Into an intersection. Left or right? The choice, ultimately, only satiates the curiosity. But going right, you find an empty room. Or rather, it seems empty. The same miasma as before begins to coalesce. Let me just double check what floor we're on. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're on the 4th, so that's +4. Okay, making sure. It takes the form of a ravenous dog. Creature that is rather familiar, but its movement is so fast, it's blinding almost. It darts at you immediately, and then stops, moves to the side, goes for your leg. That, I'm not going to count that. It won, but it went up onto the keyboard. You're able to pull your leg out of the way and slam your axe directly into the creature, making it dissipate into nothing but that same dark dust miasma as before. And going back, you find, surprisingly, another stairway down. This floor being rather ominously quiet and slow. Something doesn't feel right. You're certain of that. And before it lets you go, at least down the staircase, the miasma sets up a barrier. And 3 large hawks, formed from this darkness, begin to circle overhead. Their talons sharp and ready to strike. As each comes back, you take your axe in hand, ready it over your shoulder. And as it approaches, you slam the flat of your dulled axe into it, sending it careening and slamming into one of the walls. You follow this up for the next, but the third is trying to be sneakier. It's trying to be more clever. It's going from a lower angle, making sure you can't hit it upwards. But you you're 2 steps ahead of it and slam the axe down into it, pushing it, crushing it into the ground. All right, what did we just get? Ah, in the place of the misty barrier, you find a small idol. Another one, not matching the one from before, but close enough that you think you might be able to get some coin from it. So you put it in your rucksack, and you continue on downward. That was a surprisingly quick level. Ah, wait, nope. I need that one still so I can see. We need to put it here. This floor, much like the last, remains silent, nearly silent. But you continue forward. The amount of gold and the amount of money in your sack, very clearly able to, clearly a hoard of its own, but the drive for more pulls you. It pulls you into one of these intersections. And further along, the drive of more money pulls you into an intersection. Let's just follow our movement. Take a left, hoping that maybe the next stairway will be in the close proximity to the other one, like last floor. But you walk in and it feels as though this was made yesterday, this room. Everything seems perfect, as the designer would have wanted. No decay from age. It's ominous. Miasma begins to form, however, as it did the last floor, and from it charges a large, burly berserker of a man. You duel with him, trading blows, catching more scratches and cuts, but none of them catch deep. But you ultimately cleave into the shoulder, and then follow that up with a jab right into the gut, making it double over. And then in that last moment, you decapitate the miasma berserker, and it fades. What's in its place? A small pile of gold coins lie where the berserker once did. And you make your way back into that intersection that felt like it was a loop in time. And moving to your left once more, you find the stairway. But you feel like the miasma isn't done yet. No, you're certain of it. And just as you make that suspicion, or let your suspicion known to yourself, you feel it. The very essence of the miasma itself, it's starting to try and take over you. It starts swirling around your legs, coiling, making itself physical. And it reaches up to your bot. It coils around all of your body, holding you in place. And right as before your very eyes, it pries your mouth open and begins to pour miasma deep within you. Let's see. You take a deep breath through your nose and find your strength. You take hold of your shield and begin to smash against your legs. Not too hard to which you damage yourself, but enough to which you can feel it writhing, pulling away. You cough out the remaining miasma that was once within you. However, the cuts and bruises that were on you are now healed somehow. Perhaps that miasma is doing something. All right. Make it down to the very next floor. And it's familiar. Quaintly so. You'd never think to say that you'd miss this part of the dungeon, but there's a first time for everything. Wait, no, I was right. I had the right idea. Oh no, that's the problem. I was drawing with gray. Black. And you are now once more in a place that feels oddly alive and even deeper into the ground. What lies before you? We shall see. The door before you swings open of its own volition. It appears to be nothing short of a decrepit castle, or perhaps a deeper some kind of catacombs. The pillars that hold up the walls, they stand near the center of the room and reach into the sky, or well, what would be the sky. You know there is only so far it can go, but you just can't see it. So let me just double check the floor count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From behind those pillars lurches a familiar-looking creature. Though this one, not made of marble, but made of Smooth stone. A gargoyle. Strangely enough, it doesn't seem to pay you much mind. However, as you approach it, it starts to bristle up. And it lunges. However, you're able to maneuver out of the way, and much like with the mat that you dealt with earlier, you're able to subdue it. Something feels off. And just as you think that, it begins to get... it doesn't move, it gets pulled away. As do you. Towards a larger monster in the corner. Humanoid, but a large, vertical mouth covering most of its front. Its maw opens as it begins to drag you in. However, you let go. You let go of the gargoyle, or rather the lure, and begin to hack into this creature as it awaits you as its meal. Certainly, clearly not sensing your presence and waiting. What do you get as a reward for killing this creature? As you inspect the gargoyle more, you notice that its eyes are two small rubies, given to mimic the look of the red eyes of a gargoyle. It seems that the dungeon continues to test you, making the unfamiliar, or the familiar, unfamiliar. But we continue on. What room is this? As we continue on, reach a stalemate. Not a stalemate, but a dead end. You smile to yourself. Deep down, you recognize you could use this scroll, go forward, continue the dungeon. However, it doesn't feel right. It feels as though this is a message that you are not the one meant to find the very end. Nor was it your goal to find the very end. Your goal was to come in and find treasure, as much as you could gain, and that scroll alone would set you up for life. So you smile to yourself, a smirk more, and return from whence you came, exiting the dungeon. Game over. Thanks for playing. So, all of that, let's go over our score. So, actually, no, hold on, I'm gonna go back in here so we can all see it. I'm going to switch up the music here so that we can... Oh, wait. See if I can find it. There we go. Okay, let me restart it for you. Okay, so I'm gonna open this up on a new layer. Well, actually, no, we can use the one we were already on. So let's go with the loot first. Well, I'm gonna run the numbers on how many points we wound up with. I'm happy to hear you enjoyed it in the background, at least. So we have silver coins that give us 50 points. 150 from the gold coins. 100 from the gems. 400 from the 2 idols. 350 from the jewelry. 500 from the crown. So that is just the loot. Allow me to run the numbers here. So this leaves us off at 1,550. That's just for the loot. So all of our equipment has its own value as well. So let's start with the thing that's the least, which is the 2 torches, which we get. Don't know why that happened. 0. We get 10 points for the 2 ropes. Let's see. Get 10 points for our knife. I'm gonna put a line through the ones that we've already done so that I know. 10 for the magnifying crystal. We did not get any of the others from the mundane category. So that is 30. Next up, we got 30 for our sturdy boots, both of them. 40 for our 2 shields. 50 from our axes. Almost. Wait. No, knife. I forgot to remove the magnification crystal. One of the first item we got. And now, oh yeah, the potion. That will leave us with 150 points in this category. And then oh wait, 180 because I forgot to add our tome in. Now the scroll of teleport is a bonus of 1,000, so 1,000, 1,550, 180, and 30. So our score comes to my math is correct, that is 2,760. So, now, is my challenge to you all. If you decide to try this game out, beat my score. We could have gone deeper to try to get more with the scroll, but I think this is a great point for us to have ended this dungeon delve. And who knows, if we want, we can come back sometime. Because this, I loved this. Actually, let me get back to the landing zone. Let me double check my math, by the way. Plus 80 plus. Oh. Yeah, no, I got that right. Okay. I have the link for Dungeon Delver in the description down below. If you would like to give it a shot, feel free to. Do remember that you will need a 20-sided die and a 12-sided die. And other than that, get ready to have a good time. If you like the stream, feel free to give it a like. If you like what we do around here, feel free to subscribe as well if you haven't already. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and have a good night, everybody.